Okay, Frontier Crucible, congratulations. I am so excited for this film. There's nothing I love more than a Western, some cowboys. Talk
Yep.
to me about what drew you to this script.
What drew me to the script is one, I love Westerns. Ever since I was a little boy, I just wanted to be like Clint Eastwood. So, I mean, this was like an easy draw for me. Always want to be in Westerns. And then the second thing was it actually is really unique in that it reads actually more like a play than a typical screenplay. So it's very dialogue heavy, and usually with Westerns, you have a lot of like these gun shootouts, these horse chases, saloons, towns, and this is very stripped back, and it's all about the word, all about the dialogue and tension between these characters. So I thought it was kind of unique.
Yeah, and it's so funny. I was talking to Billy Zane a little bit ago because he had this huge Western he was in, and we were saying we feel like Westerns have had this resurgence, and it's really the stripped down version, Clint Eastwood, that nitty-gritty cowboy life that we're seeing more of these days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a great time to be in a Western right now. They're so popular. And they everything, comes and goes, but Westerns are like, Westerns are Shakespeare. I always say like England has Shakespeare, the Greeks have the myths, and America has the Western. That's like our folklore. So it's special that it's having such a resurgence.
Yeah, and I hear horses are in for fall. There's a lot of horse sweaters everywhere, Western boots, so it's working.
Yeah, everyone has to have cowboy boots nowadays. That's the thing.
100%. Did you do anything in particular to channel the character of Merrick?
Um, the only thing I had to channel was just to try to be the best version of myself because Merrick is, and you'll see when you watch it, he's very much a guy that won't sway. He has a lot of temptations in the film for love, for lust, for survival. He has lots of threats throughout the film, and he never sways. He just is on a mission to do the right thing at all times, and that's a really rare quality to find in human beings nowadays. So I had to, I guess, dig a little deeper for that one because we all fall to temptations and to threats and to pressure, and Merrick doesn't ever do that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to play that through line throughout the whole film, but that's just the type of character he is. So that was kind of cool to do.
Yeah, and I did watch the film. He was calm, cool, and collected. I really enjoyed seeing him. And that's so interesting. I love that. All you had to do was kind of be the best version of yourself. But was
Yeah,
there anything you would do on set that's like superstitious before you go in and perform a role? You have to do this. Do you have anything like that?
I do. You know what? And I direct westerns too, and I love westerns for this specific reason. What I do before I get on the set is I always just go off by myself. I wander into the woods. We were shooting in the mountains in Arizona, so it's easy. And just find some peace and, just find my peace for that day and find some gratitude. And because it's a really easy job we get to do. We're really lucky to get to do it. So I just kind of find some gratitude and peace in the morning before we go into battle, so to speak.
That's incredible. Doing what you love and being grateful for it.
Yeah.
And this was such a star-studded cast. We had Armie Hammer, William H. Macy. What was that like for you?
It was great. The best thing about it was you had all these movie stars on set, and there was no trailers. We're out in the mountains together, out in the desert, out in the cold, and we just every morning and every night we just sat around a campfire, and it was like we were out. It's like we were at camp with all these big movie stars, and it was kind of like the great equalizer, which was so fun and so rare because most times on set, everyone goes off for their trailers for break, or everyone's on their cell phone. But we didn't have trailers. We didn't have any cell phone service out there, so we were all just like sitting around the fire, shooting the shit, and really getting to know each other, which is cool. It's a humanizing thing when you're around movie stars like that to be able to just sit around a campfire and talk like normal human beings.
Wait, this is amazing. I have so many questions. You guys had no cell service, so there was just all this on-set bonding. Do you have
Yeah.
like a favorite memory or conversation you had with them?
Mm. One of my favorite memories is actually it was the last day of shooting, and William Macy, who's an Academy Award winner. You'd think he's like kind of like gonna have all this gravitas. He was just a really nice guy, and he brought out his banjo on the last day, and we were all out on John Ford Lookout in Monument Valley, which is like, John Wayne stood there and uttered some famous words from many of his movies. And William H. Macy just started playing his little ukulele banjo thing, and we are all just sitting around looking at him with a campfire going, and we're like, wow, this is really special.
I love that. That is so incredible. Best piece of advice William or Army maybe gave you about acting, the industry, life?
Mm. A lot of them said some really interesting things. I would say Thomas Jane gave some good advice. He said, as an actor, you end up getting berated by a lot of critics and opinions from people. And he says, just like Merrick, just as long as you're doing the right thing and doing your best and knowing you gave your all, that's the only thing you can stand by in this career because it's just so full of so many different people's opinions about the work and about the film. And as long as you're doing the work and doing the right thing, that's all that matters. Which, coming from a movie star like him was good advice.
Yeah, it's so true. One minute they love you, the next minute they have opinions. It's like as long as you're true to yourself, you can get through that because it's a lot.
Exactly.
And what is one thing you really want audiences to walk away thinking or feeling after watching this film?
Well, number one, I hope they're entertained, because it's a movie. It's it's unique in that there's a lot of dialogue, but it's still quite thrilling. So I number one hope they're entertained, and number two, I think they can take away from Merrick's journey that you know what, we can all be a little bit better. We can all be a little bit stronger when faced with pressure and temptations and threats. We can all stand a little taller and a little stronger
Mhm.
thing. So I think those are the two things.
So true. And you also have your own production company, Fireside Films. So incredible. Miles, what is brewing for 2026? What can you share and tease for the audiences?
Well, I have a film I directed coming out in 2 weeks called The Plantation. It's a horror thriller. And then in February, my big directing film, which I made with my partner in our production company called Timberlands, is coming out. That's also Western. It's a modern Western starring Academy Award winner Wes Studi. So that's coming out in theaters and on demand in February or March. So that's probably the biggest thing to look out for.
Okay, what was it like directing Wes? What were there nerves? Were you like, I know this, I got this? How did that feel for you?
I personally was so nervous as a director because I love Wes Studi. I watched him in Last of the Mohegans, I mean, which he was most famous for, and among like hundreds of other films. So he was like a big Western hero of mine. And among people who watch Westerns and are in that kind of genre, like he's a legend. So I was very nervous to direct him, but he was just the coolest guy. He just came in and started dancing and laughing with everybody immediately and immediately took away all the nerves. So it was just a blessing to be able to direct someone like that, especially since he was so cool.
So when they say don't meet your heroes, you disagree. You're like,
I
definitely meet your heroes.
He was really cool. Some other people maybe not, but he was.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you're booked and busy, but who would be a dream co-star for you or a dream person you'd love to direct?
Ooh, that's a good question. Hmm. Ooh, that's so hard.
I know there's probably a lot, but if you had to
There-
pick one,
There's so many.
I know.
Oh man, I don't even know who to say. Uh, God.
We could stay Western. Is there another Western hero of yours?
Okay, that's a good one. You know what? I'm gonna flip the script, and honestly, for me, I just love directing my dad. My dad's an actor, and he's been an actor for 50 years. And my favorite thing is just getting to make movies with my friends. And honestly, I I'm sure there's 100 actors I'd love to direct, but I have the best time when I just get to direct my dad on set, which I've done in a few films. So I don't know. I'm sure there's hundreds of people I'd love to direct, but he's always my top choice.
No, that's incredible. I loved him as Lieutenant Gormley, obviously on Blue Bloods, one of my favorite shows, and you actually had a role on there in 2016. What is an
Yeah.
all-time favorite memory from set? Because that must be so cool growing up with your dad in such a huge, iconic show.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. And I got to go see him and meet Tom Selleck and all those people on set. And that was really special. You know, honestly, my fondest memory of him as an actor is just getting to go see him on Broadway. He's done a lot of Broadway, so as a little kid, getting to go to theater and see him up on stage was always really special.
And he's the ultimate advice giver. What did he tell you as you embarked in the industry?
He said, "Don't get into the industry. It's like
Yeah.
get a different job. If you can do anything else, do that. But you know what? We're all the same. We can't do anything else,
Yeah.
and stuck doing this." crazy job that's pretty horrible 90% of the time, but the 10% you do get to do, it's the best job in the world. So that was the advice he gave me, and I
I
didn't
love
listen.
I know you didn't listen. You're like, they never do. Kids never do. But I love Tom. I love Donnie. What was it like hanging out with them and meeting them for the first time? Did they have any advice for you or any fun moments behind the scenes?
Donnie is just a really fun guy. He's just really cool, down to earth, cracks jokes. And Tom Selleck is very serious, but there's an actor. I've been wanting to find a project to direct Tom Selleck in a Western because he's obviously a Western legend himself. And he actually lives out in California near where I keep a little tiny home out in California, and he has a horse farm right next door. So I've been trying to find a script that I can get to his agents that I can direct him in a Western and bring him back into the Western genre before he retires. So that would be a goal.
You need to do that. I'm just remembering I read an article he did with some magazine talking about how he loves Westerns, and I think
Yeah.
he actually said he'd love to return back. So that
Yeah.
needs to happen. That would be incredible.
Yeah.
What genre do you see yourself directing your dad in? Because we have the cops, we have Tom as a cop. What do you see your dad doing next?
My dad, he gets so pigeonholed as like the New York guy because he's from the Bronx. He gets the New York cop thing a lot, but he's really talented, and I'd love to see him in something like a straight up like family drama because he's really got so much to give. And if I wrote a script with him about his life growing up in the Bronx during the Vietnam War, and his brother fought the Vietnam War and won the Golden Gloves in boxing. And he's got a really incredible story growing up in the 60s and 70s in the Bronx, New York. And so I'd love to actually direct him in that film about his life.
That would be amazing. Yeah, that's something we have to make. We need a Western with Tom. We need his family script. That's incredible.
Yeah, we got to get on
Okay,
that.
Boston Blue, we got to talk about it, the spinoff. Are you watching? What do you make of it?
I haven't watched it yet, but I do plan on watching it because I do love Donnie. I've personally auditioned for it a couple times already, so I'm excited. I'm excited to watch it and see it and see kind of how it grows and if they start to do some like connections between all the old Blue Bloods characters and stuff like that. So I'm super curious to watch it, tune in.
Yeah, I was gonna say we need you in a cameo. I think that would be the perfect full circle moment.
Right? That'd be fun.